Howdy y'all, Big Country here with Big Country Survival. Getting my morning cup of coffee. Okay, actually this is like my third morning cup of coffee. In my Friends Don't Let Friends Vote Democrat coffee mug. I bought that actually at a museum in Philadelphia. They had like Friends Don't Let Friends Vote Democrat, Friends Don't Let Friends Vote Republican. I don't know, things weren't so polarized when all that was going on. Like when I got that, like things weren't so politically polarized. But I'm not here to talk about politics, dadgummit. So I'm actually here to show, as promised, the finished product right here. Alright, well, it's as finished as I can get it right now. This is the first knife sheath I've made, and I've got my belt loop here, which I think it's alright. I just got it riveted on. I've got 3 rivets here, and then some of the waxed thread. It's not the greatest looking, and it's certainly not on par with like what Staff Sergeant BA does over there, Step 1 Survival, but it will work. It will do the job. And I'm gonna have a snap put on here. I know a good leather shop, and they mainly sell leather products. They don't do a whole lot of repair and all of that, but they do have the machine. They used to do a lot of that. And so they've got like machines that are from the early 1900s. The shop has been family owned since, you know, the mid 1800s. You know, it's been there since the mid 1800s. But for, you know, the purposes right now of just keeping it in, I've just kind of got a little piece of leather string, you know, just little leather like bootlace almost, but yeah. And so I've been kind of putting a little funky knot. It's like it starts out like you're tying your shoes, but then you turn it into a slip knot too. That's what I've been doing with it. And now you might notice that the sharp part of the blade itself is here. The belt loop's here. And so it's like, well, if you're gonna carry it on your right side, you're gonna have the blade come up, so you'd have to pull it out like that. You know, like that. Well, the plan is either to go inside the belt, between like your pants and your belt, or put it closer to the small of the back, so you would actually like reach down and pull it out like that. That's the plan. That's the plan for it. So I'm actually gonna be sharpening up on it. I've been sharpening up on it, and it's pretty sharp, but I hate having a dull knife. So, alright, I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about this blade and kind of what I was going for. My wife says that the blade looks like a fish because it's got this hole, which I didn't put the hole in there. The hole was in there, and that was just the piece of steel that I used, and so I found a way to incorporate that hole, and just, it looks cool. You know, I suppose it could be used for lashing it onto something, you know, like make it into like a really, you know, improv, really improvised hatchet of some sort. Um, you know, just split a piece of a lumber, or split like a stick and just tie that around, and so you and tie it there, and you could have like a little hatchet out of it. But I wanted something that would just be a good general purpose style blade. This knife build, I thought of just doing like a meat cleaver style, but I don't know. I like having a meat cleaver around, and I like that style of blade, but I want something that has a tip to it usually. Um, and so I went with I've always called it an onion style. I don't know if that's the proper term, but where you got this deep belly in here, but you got a tip, and then it kind of goes down here and meets to that point. So this is something that you could, you know, cut like that, you know, a little slice in motion. You know, use it. You could use it even as like one of them ulu knives, like the Alaskan, you know, Inuit kind of knives. It does have a tip, so it would work for stabbing. And it's hefty enough and heavy enough that chopping would not be a problem. I mean, you've got enough weight behind this thing. You should be able to chop with it. You'd be able to chop with it pretty easily. And then you've got this. I like to put these little thumb rests up here on, you know, most of the knives I build. I put like some sort of a thumb rest right here. Now before you wonder about my finger here, about that much of this blade is semi-sharp, like, you know, yeah, right about there. The actual sharpness starts right about there, goes up to the tip. So right here, it's just semi-sharp. So you've got kind of a little bit of a buffer before you actually really run the risk of cutting your finger. And the person who I'm giving this to has smaller hands than me. Not that that's, you know, that amazing, because this is my hand on a regular can of WD-40, so I need a bigger handled knife for myself. I do. Like, it's really hard to find good knives that actually fit my hand. But I like this thumb rest. I like the thumb rest for a little extra control, doing more detailed work. And that's the big thing. Now this, I made this from two parts of a horseshoe, one on one side, one on the other, and then a lawnmower blade. Now the lawnmower blade goes clear back. It goes clear back there, and it's all one piece of steel now. Well, because I filled this in, because this was actually wider on both sides and parts of it. Well, the inside here, but the back here actually was sticking up a bit, and I just filled all that in with welded this all up around the original piece, and I ground it down till it was nice and smooth, sanded it, took a flap disc on a grinder and all that, cleaned up any sharp edges. And so you've got something pretty comfortable in your hands. You know, even though it's all steel, it's solid steel. And then, you know, you've got this piece. I mean, it's all steel. You got weight, so you can use this as somewhat of a hammer. You know, even, I mean, you could grab it like this, I suppose. Use that as a hammer. Or like this. But it'll be a good general purpose knife, good general purpose camp knife. That's what I made it for. Um, I actually haven't gotten around to measuring it, and I don't have my tape with me, but that's a regular can of WD, so that's the blade length. Almost the, well, as far as the sharp blade, right up here, to give you some visual indication. So that's what I did. And, you know, the leather crafting, I'm new to. I'm very green at that. I mean, I've watched some videos from Step 1 Survival. You know, I'm good at like leather maintenance, but as far as leather working, I'm very new to it. That's the very first knife sheath I've ever made. And so I'll just kind of give you the lowdown of what I've done. As I have my piece of leather. This is all from a single piece. Well, this is all from the original piece of leather scrap, and it's thin. And I couldn't find any thicker leather. I bought like 2 or 3 of the bags of scraps, and I just could not find any big thick pieces of leather in those scrap. So this is what it is. And I mean, it's a fairly thin leather, which is, you know, but hopefully the rivets help it, and it'll keep it good for a little while. But it's a very soft leather. And I just line this out, cut this up, trimmed it up, and put my my rivets in on here before I folded it over, and then put my rivets in here. And then after I got my rivets in here, I took a drill bit, took a cordless drill, and I drilled a bunch of holes in here to run my lacing through. And I just ran my lacing through there, double stitched it, and I trimmed up a bunch of the excess because it was very rough. I did not trim it up prior to drilling it. I just left all that excess there and trimmed it up. And now this is not completed, and I haven't trimmed this clear up just for the fact that it needs to get a snap put on it. And I didn't want to trim it all up nice, and then, oh no, there's not enough leather to bite to get a snap on there. So I kind of left that loose. I kind of left that roughed. And so I'm sitting here and drinking my coffee and sharpening up on this knife. Had my sharpening stone, my WD out, and a rag. I've been cleaning up on it, doing the finishing touches to the blade, you know, so that's how I'm spending my birthday. And and I gotta go help someone build some fence here later, a little bit later. So that's what I'm doing today. Yeah, me and the missus will probably wind up, I'd say, we might wind up going somewhere to eat. You know, which I try and avoid going out to eat, but, you know, it's nice to treat yourself once in a while. It's a nice restaurant in the nearest town. They've been around forever. like since the 1800s. I think, yeah, like 1898 or something. They've been around, and it's a tavern slash brewery. They brew their own beer, and they have really good burgers and really good fries. And so we may end up there tonight. Get me a pint of porter and a burger, and just have a good time. Enjoy each other's company. But I know that y'all probably don't care about that, but that's not preparedness related. It's not bushcrafting related. Why do I care? Why do I care what you're doing? Well, daggone it. You're watching this video still, aren't you? If you aren't, oh well. No, I love you guys. Till next time. It's Big Country Survival. I'm signing out. God bless.